One of the top players in the world is Joshua Filler. I'm going to show you several things that Joshua does in every single shot, and if you can start incorporating these things into your own game, you should see dramatic results in just one training session. Then we'll go over center ball training drills and patterns that will have an immediate impact on your cue ball control. We've received a lot of inquiries about in-person training, but unfortunately online and in-person training is booked through next year. But if you contact us, we can put you on a waiting list if any openings come up. So if you're ready, let's get started. Joshua Filler is one of the top players in the world and has an incredible ability to pocket balls and play position with very little effort, and he's able to maintain this high level of play game after game. After studying hundreds of games by Joshua Filler, I'm going to show you several things that he does on every single shot that if you can start incorporating into your own game right now, you should see positive results in just one training session. Now, if you study enough videos of Joshua, you'll immediately notice that he doesn't spend a lot of time on the table aiming. He usually goes through 3 or 4 aiming strokes, then shoots the shot. And this leads to a mistake that players make when playing leagues or tournaments. Sometimes when working with a student, they'll take several long aiming strokes. And sometimes these students even try to perform their aiming strokes at the same speed they're going to perform the shot. But if you study the top players in the world, very few of them perform long aiming strokes. They tend to use extremely short aiming strokes, which really helps them fine-tune their aim. By keeping the tip close to the cue ball while aiming, it not only allows for more accurate aiming, but it also speeds up the aiming process since their tip is always near the cue ball. This sort of precise aiming also allows a player to be more specific as to which part of the pocket they can send the ball into to alter the cue ball's path. Here are 2 different aiming styles. First, I'll show you this aiming style, which uses long aiming strokes. And we can see that the player has to wait for the tip to return to the cue ball in order to lock in their aim. Now here's the second aiming style where the tip is kept near the cue ball. This way of aiming is not only quicker but a little more accurate since the player can make slight adjustments using micro strokes. Now if you're a beginner, then long aiming strokes can be beneficial since you're still developing your stroke. But if you've been playing for years and you tend to use long aiming strokes, you may want to think about exchanging them for micro strokes, which really help fine-tune your aim. The main objective when you're down on the table is to make sure your aim is locked in. One quick tip is to lock in your tip with the contact point before beginning your aiming strokes. If you're the type of player that rushes through your aiming strokes, just take an extra beat and really line that tip up when you first get down on the shot. Once it's lined up, begin your aiming strokes. I'll sometimes work with students who come down on the shot then slide the stick over when using side spin. Or they come down on the cue ball, then move it to different spots on the cue ball until they find the correct spot. These are all extra movements that prolong the amount of time the player is down on the table. Once they move the tip to the proper spot, then they have to make sure everything is lined up. Ideally, if you're going to shoot a shot with low right, that should be determined before getting down on the table. Then when you get down on the table, the tip should fall onto the cue ball at the proper spot. At this point, the player shouldn't have to make any major adjustments with the placement of the tip. All the adjustments should be done through micro strokes. One part of Joshua's game that separates him from other top players is his ability to pocket extremely difficult shots. If we examine just a handful of these shots, we'll notice that they all have the same thing in common. Joshua shoots all of these shots using center ball, and we can tell it's center ball based on the cue ball reaction when it strikes a cushion. When faced with a difficult shot, Joshua focuses all his attention on just pocketing the ball and using the cue ball's natural path to play position for his next ball. If we study the last 3 balls of this pattern, Amateur players may try to use low left to bring the cue ball to this area, creating this angle on the 8 ball. Joshua realizes that using side spin on this shot increases his chances of missing the shot due to the elevated cue stick. Instead, he's just going to use center low and doesn't try to overhit the shot, even if it means he doesn't end up with the ideal angle on the 8 ball. On this shot, most players would try to power the 8 ball, sending it into this part of the pocket to help move the cue ball away from the side rail and end up closer to the 9 ball. But this way of shooting the 8 ball increases the chances of missing the shot. Joshua doesn't choose this option. Instead, he shoots the shot with center low and doesn't try to cheat the pocket, even if it means he ends up farther away from his next ball. Now he pockets the 9 ball just using center high. Here's another example of a shot where many top players would use side spin to help propel the cue ball 2 rails back to the position area. Instead, Joshua uses straight center high and uses the natural path of the cue ball to play position. By doing this, he increases his chances of pocketing the ball. And while Joshua may have a low deflection shaft, it's still more difficult to aim a shot using side spin than when your tip is along the vertical line. Joshua Filler is an excellent example of a player who has complete command of the cue ball, and this begins with a strong center ball game. A player who has mastered center ball knows exactly where the natural path is of the cue ball without side spin, and they base everything off this natural path. So if the natural path of the cue ball heads in this direction, now they know they can use a quarter tip of right spin to land in the position area. Or on this shot, the natural sliding path off the object ball heads in this direction. Or this shot where just center high takes the cue ball to the proper destination. If a player isn't aware of natural paths and angles, they may try to use side spin on this shot and other shots that don't require side spin. It's this deeper understanding of how the cue ball moves off the object ball that is the foundation for building a complete positional game similar to Joshua's. Later in the video, we're going to go through center ball drills, which will really help you develop a feel for stun and rolling shots. Joshua is known as a fast player, but he still takes time before every shot to create a game plan. Now when he's down on the table, he trusts the game plan that he's created, and the only thing he has to think about is making sure the shot is lined up. Speed and path of the cue ball are figured out before he gets down on the table. Now compare this to the player who gets down too quickly before creating a game plan. Now when they're down on the table, they have to figure out where to end up with the cue ball that will give them the proper angle on their next shot. Once this is determined, they now have to figure out what path and speed they need to use to reach this destination. Based on this, they can now decide what spin they need to use. Also, since they quickly got down on the table, they have to make sure their cue is on the shot line, which means they'll have to slightly shift their stroking arm to line up the shot. Once they figure all this out, they now have to start aiming the shot. And if they use long aiming strokes, this just prolongs the amount of time they spend on the table. Due to the amount of information this type of player has to process when down on the table, they simply focus on pocketing the ball and sending the cue ball into a large position area. And this usually results in the player ending up with awkward angles on their next ball. And before you even get down on the table, you not only have to find the destination for your cue ball, but you also have to know what path to use to get to this area. This path will tell you what speed and spin you'll need to use. And it's really important that once you're down on the table that you trust your skill and your game plan. It doesn't matter how good your game plan is if you don't fully trust it. This is what allows Joshua to not spend a lot of time on the table. He simply focuses on making sure the shot is lined up. When watching Joshua, you'll notice he is very precise about how he comes down on the shot. His goal is to be lined up on the shot as soon as he's down on the table. This is another disadvantage players have when they get down on a shot too quickly. They then have to quickly adjust their cue so it's on the shot line. It's important to remember that the aiming starts while standing up. That way when you come down on the shot, your cue should be on the shot line. A good drill to practice is to throw several balls out on the table and just practice pocketing a ball and landing in your position area. But when you perform this drill, you won't be doing any aiming strokes. Try to visualize the shot line. It may help to place your cue stick along this line as you come down on the shot. Also, once you place your tip at the cue ball, you can't move it. So if you're going to shoot a shot a tip below center, your tip should fall exactly where you need to strike the cue ball. If you're not lined up in the shot, then stand back up and start over. The goal of this drill is to come down on the shot with the tip exactly where it needs to be to not only pocket the ball, but also to send the cue ball along the correct path. Try to run a full rack of balls, pocketing each ball and also controlling the cue ball's path and destination. As you perform each drill, stay down on the table until the ball goes into the pocket. Now let's go through the importance of center ball training. In order to reach a high level in pool, you have to master side spin. In order to truly master side spin, you first have to have a thorough knowledge of the physics of the game, which is why I always emphasize center ball training, since it teaches not only the physics part of the game, but also position fundamentals using stun and rolling shots. Once you learn this part of the game, you'll know exactly how much side spin to use for more precise positioning. One trap players fall into is buying a low deflection shaft and overusing their side spin. As a general rule, the more side spin you're going to use when playing pool, the more hours of practice you'll need to put in order to develop the feel needed to control the cue ball. And you have to remember there are several variables in play each time you shoot a shot with side spin. For example, I'll set this shot up and shoot it with low right spin. And in both examples, I'm going to be aiming at the object ball exactly the same way. I'm also going to be using a very low deflection shaft. Next, I'll aim exactly the same way, but this time I'm going to increase my speed. And now we can see that by changing my speed, it caused me to miss the shot even though I was aiming the shot exactly the same way. When pocketing a ball using side spin, there are several variables in play. Speed, the amount of side spin, angle of the cue stick, and type of shaft all affect the cue ball's path when using side spin. Now I'm going to shoot the shot using center low using two different speeds. And we can see that this type of shot isn't speed sensitive, so I'm able to aim the shot exactly the same way on both shots. On our website, one of the videos in the center ball collection contains 30 of the most common angle shots that players will come across when playing pool. Mastering these shots using center ball will have an immediate and dramatic impact on your game. The goal of these drills is to shoot the shot 10 times in a row, making no adjustments in your aim. By doing this, you'll be able to determine where you are consistently missing the shot. For example, after shooting this shot several times in a row, I have a tendency to strike the end rail with the object ball. Knowing this, I can adjust my aiming slightly until I'm consistently pocketing the ball. Now, when this shot or similar shots come up in a game situation, I now have a better understanding of how to pocket the ball. The idea behind these 30 shots is to study the player's misses over several shots. Then, using this information, we can help the player modify their aim until they're consistently pocketing the ball. And most good players will have a pattern to their misses. For example, this is a typical shot that players will consistently miss on one side of the pocket or another. And what's interesting is that with some players, they will overcut shots when shooting to the right and undercut shots when shooting to the left, or vice versa. It's understanding how you miss and making the necessary corrections that will elevate your game immediately. Also, studying your misses will help maximize your practice time since every shot is being utilized. Set up 3 balls like this. The goal is to pocket the 5 and 6 ball into the corner pocket using center low for each shot. Try to run this pattern 3 times in a row. On this first shot, we're going to be shooting the 5 ball to the right toward the pocket. So if you do miss, keep track of where you are missing. Next, we're going to be shooting the 6 ball to the left toward the corner pocket. Once again, keep track of where you are missing. If you're struggling with either shot, just keep shooting it until you can make it 7 or 10 times in a row. As you begin center ball training, what you'll learn is that you can replace side spin with the vertical line of the cue ball. And I'll first demonstrate this with a few shots so you have a better idea of how this works. In this game of 9 ball, my goal is to pocket the 1 ball and land around here for shape on the 2 ball. If I use maximum high with about a half tip of left spin, I can send the cue ball toward the target area. Now I'm going to try to reach this area just using the vertical line of the cue ball. If I just use maximum high, the cue ball is sent in this direction, which won't work. But if I aim slightly below maximum high, I can change where the cue ball strikes the side rail, which changes the cue ball path. In this game of 9 ball, we need to pocket the 3 ball and land in this area for shape on the 4 ball. If I roll in the 3 ball with a tip of left spin, the cue ball will track in this direction. So let's examine how to get to this position area just using the vertical line. If I just use straight center high, the cue ball tracks in this direction. But if I strike below center on the cue ball using proper speed, the cue ball will have a touch of low spin on it by the time it reaches the 3 ball, which pulls it back slightly, sending it along the correct path. In this game of 9 ball, we'll be pocketing the 1 ball and landing here for the 4 ball. Using low left, we can send the cue ball along the correct path. Now if I wanted to use a vertical line, I would just aim lower on the cue ball to send the cue ball to the same area. In this game of 9 ball, I need to pocket the 4 ball and land here for shape on the 5 ball. A rolling shot with a tip of right spin will send the cue ball toward the target area. Now if we just shoot this shot with center high, the cue ball is sent in this direction. Once again, I'm going to lower the tip on the cue ball to change its path, sending it in the correct direction. Now we're going to go through several center ball drills to help sharpen your cue ball control. And when you do these drills, you can use Avery reinforcement stickers to mark each ball location, or Shark Marks uses color-coded stickers which help to identify where each ball goes. These drills will dramatically improve your ability to stun the cue ball, as well as controlling the cue ball's speed. To start, we're going to be setting up these 2 balls here, and for all the drills we'll be working on, we'll be using just 1/2 of the table. So when performing these drills, your cue ball can't cross half table. Also with each drill, we're going to focus on controlling the cue ball by just using center, center low, and center high. One trap players fall into is that they know they can play incorrect angles, since they can either spin their way back into position or send the cue ball around the table to get back in line. The goal of these drills is to take away these safety nets and force a player to play more precise angles using proper speed control. We'll first start with a few basic drills, then we're going to move on to patterns. In this drill, we're going to send the cue ball to a specific spot on the side rail, landing on or extremely close to our cue ball target. And when practicing this drill, you can use a coin to represent your cue ball target, or you can use a small piece of paper. The key to this shot is determining what angle you need on the object ball to send the cue ball along the correct path. The goal is to perform this exercise at least 3 times in a row before moving on. Next, try to land the cue ball near the 2 ball pocket line by coming off the cushion. Try to perform this shot at least 3 times in a row before moving on. If you really want to challenge yourself, you can perform this drill and the rest of the drills 5 or 7 times in a row. In this drill, we'll be pocketing the object ball and trying to land the cue ball on or extremely close to the 2 ball pocket line. Once again, pick out your target on the side rail to send the cue ball toward. If your cue ball is dying before it gets to the rail, make sure you're striking maximum high on the cue ball. Anything below maximum high requires more speed to move the cue ball toward the side rail. The goal is to use the minimum speed required to execute the shot successfully. In this drill, we're going to play position for the 2 ball 2 different ways. The first way is using a stun shot to send the cue ball toward the 2 ball, making sure we cross the second diamond line. Next, we'll pocket the object ball into the corner pocket, sending the cue ball toward the side rail, landing on or very close to the 2 ball pocket line. Just like the previous shot, make sure you give yourself a target to send the cue ball toward. You can use a piece of chalk to indicate the target. In this drill, we're going to be pocketing the object ball and sending the cue ball to the other side rail, landing on or close to the 2 ball pocket line. You'll want an angle like this on the object ball where the shot is still very makeable, but the angle is still helping move the cue ball to the target area. In this drill, we'll be pocketing the object ball and sending the cue ball to the end rail for shape on the 2-ball. The goal is to land on or near the pocket line by coming off the end rail. Next, we'll play a low stun shot, sending the cue ball off the side rail, landing on or close to the 2-ball pocket line. In this drill, we'll be pocketing the object ball 2 different ways. First, we'll create an angle on it like this, then softly roll it in for position on the 2-ball. When shooting this shot, be aware of how much of the object ball you are striking, since it will affect the cue ball path and speed. Next, we'll flatten the angle on the first ball and stun the cue ball off the side rail, creating our position on the 2-ball. And remember, as with all the drills, you won't be using side spin. In this drill, we'll be pocketing the object ball and sending the cue ball off the end rail and toward the 2-ball. If it helps, place a piece of chalk on the rail to identify where the cue ball needs to strike. To perform this shot successfully, you'll need to strike the cue ball with maximum high. Next, we'll be sending the cue ball off the side rail, landing on or close to the 2-ball pocket line. In this drill, we're going to pocket the object ball and send the cue ball toward the second diamond for a high angle on the 2-ball. Now we're going to pocket the object ball and send the cue ball to the side rail just above the third diamond for position on the 2-ball. You can use a piece of chalk as a target to send the cue ball toward. In this drill, we're going to pocket the 1-ball and send the cue ball off the second diamond for position on the 2-ball. You'll be using maximum high when performing this shot. Next, we're going to shoot the object ball with draw, sending the cue ball toward the second diamond, creating a high angle on the 2-ball. In this drill, we're going to draw back, landing on or close to the 2-ball pocket line. And remember to give yourself a target for your cue ball to land in. When shooting these drills, really force yourself to be more precise with your cue ball speed. In this drill, we're going to be pocketing the object ball into the side pocket and drawing the cue ball over to the side rail, landing on or close to the 2-ball pocket line. As in previous drills, give yourself a target on the side rail. Now we're going to begin the 3-ball patterns. With all these patterns, the goal is to run out each one 3 times in a row, using consistent cue ball positioning for each ball. Also, we're going to be running the balls out in numerical order. In this pattern, we're going to pocket the 1-ball using maximum high and land the cue ball above the 2-ball pocket line. Now we'll use a low stun shot to send the cue ball over to the side rail, landing on or on this side of the 3-ball pocket line. In this pattern, we're going to start here on the 1-ball and create an angle on the 2-ball. The goal in this 1-ball shot is to land about a diamond away from the side rail. Now we can roll in the 2-ball, landing on or close to the 3-ball pocket line. In this pattern, we're going to pocket the 1-ball and send the cue ball across the 2-ball pocket line. And from here, we're going to send the cue ball off the side rail for shape on the 3-ball. When shooting the 2-ball, we have to send the cue ball off the cushion and land on or below the first diamond line. And what you'll find as you go through this pattern 3, 5, or 7 times in a row is that you'll end up with a variety of angles on the 2-ball. For example, we ended up here on the 2-ball, which is a little too close to the pocket line. The ideal angle is here, which allows us to softly roll in the 2-ball and get our position for the 3-ball. At the position I ended up at, if I pocket the 2-ball with a rolling cue ball, it will be sent in this direction, which won't work. A sliding cue ball heads in this direction, so when I shoot this shot, I'm going to be using a firm stroke, striking the cue ball just above center. Now when the cue ball strikes the 2-ball, it is slightly rolling, which sends it between the sliding cue ball line and the rolling line. In this pattern, we're going to pocket the 1-ball and roll forward a few inches for an angle on the 2-ball. And when we shoot the 2-ball, we have to send the cue ball off the side rail. so the goal is to end up just short of the 2-ball pocket line. Now we can pocket the 2-ball using maximum high to send the cue ball off the side rail for shaping the 3-ball. And when pocketing the 3-ball, remember that you can't cross the halfway point on the table. In this pattern, we're going to be pocketing the 1-ball and sending the cue ball off the end rail, creating our angle on the 2-ball. In order to run these patterns out 3, 5, or 7 times in a row, you have to become proficient at pocketing the 2 and 3 ball from a variety of angles. For instance, if you end up here on the 2-ball, you'll have to send the cue ball off both side rails for shape on the 3-ball. Now if you want to challenge yourself, take away this top side rail when shooting the 2-ball, which will force yourself to play a better angle for the 2-ball. In this pattern, we're going to be pocketing the 1-ball and sending the cue ball off the rail, crossing the 2-ball pocket line. At this angle, I'll be using a firm stroke with a small amount of low spin. The goal is to pocket the 2-ball landing on or close to the 3-ball pocket line. In this pattern, we're going to pocket the 1-ball and cross the 2-ball pocket line. Now we're going to pocket the 2-ball and send the cue ball toward the 3-ball pocket line, either by going off the cushion or by floating into your position area. Before shooting the 2-ball, make sure you really lock in on where the pocket line meets the rail. At this angle, I can no longer send the cue ball off the cushion, so I'm going to have to float the cue ball toward the pocket line using precise cue ball speed. In this pattern, we're going to pocket the 1-ball and send the cue ball off the side rail, creating a high angle on the 2-ball. Now we're going to roll in the 2-ball, playing position for the 3-ball in the same pocket. Remember, the cue ball can't cross the halfway point of the table, so if you end up with too much angle on the 2-ball, you may have to start the run over. If you end up with a flat angle like this on the 2-ball, you'll have to use a lot more force to move the cue ball into the position area. One of the main goals of these drills is to help the player recognize natural angles. So landing around here requires a lot less effort to pocket the ball and get position than if your cue ball lands here on the 2-ball. In this layout, we're going to pocket the 1-ball and draw back, crossing the 2-ball pocket line. Now we'll pocket the 2-ball, sending the cue ball off the end rail and side rail for shape on the 3-ball. On this 2-ball shot, you have to send the cue ball off both cushions when playing position. Similar to previous patterns, if you end up too close to the pocket line of the 2-ball, you'll have to use a firm stroke shooting just below maximum high to send the cue ball 2 rails. In this pattern, we're going to be pocketing the 1-ball and sending the cue ball off the side rail, creating an angle like this on the 2-ball. Now the goal is to pocket the 2-ball and send the cue ball 2 rails for shape on the 3-ball. When playing this 2-ball, you can use the vertical line of the cue ball to strike different parts of the side rail. For example, I can shoot this shot with maximum high to send the cue ball here, or I can strike the cue ball below center, sending the cue ball higher up on the side rail. When shooting this shot, in order to reach your cue ball destination, both your speed and where you are striking the cue ball have to be in sync. In this pattern, we're going to pocket the 1-ball and send the cue ball around the 2-ball, landing on or across the 2-ball pocket line. Now we're going to pocket the 2-ball, landing on or very close to the 3-ball pocket line. A good target to use when shooting the 1-ball is to pick a spot on the rail directly across from the 2-ball. In this drill, we're going to be pocketing the 1-ball and sending the cue ball off the end rail, landing on or just above the 2-ball pocket line. From here, we can either play a kill shot on the 2-ball, or come off the side rail landing on or very close to the 3-ball pocket line. When shooting the 1 ball, remember to pick out a target on the end rail to send the cue ball toward. Here I ended up with a little angle on the 3 ball, so I'm going to draw the cue ball back to the side rail to avoid crossing half table. In this drill, we're going to be pocketing the 1 ball and sending the cue ball toward the end rail, crossing the 2-ball pocket line. Now we'll be pocketing the 2 ball and coming off the side rail for shape on the 3 ball. When shooting the 1 ball, give yourself an angle that allows you to shoot softly, but the cue ball still reaches its destination. Just like in the previous patterns, if you end up too close to the pocket line, you can use a firm stroke striking the cue ball below maximum high. In this pattern, we're going to be pocketing the 1 ball and landing on or extremely close to the 2-ball pocket line for the side pocket. If you come up just short of the pocket line like this, you can draw the cue ball back off the side rail for shape on the 3 ball. As mentioned earlier, when you're playing tight position like this, always check to see where the pocket line meets the rail. When working with students, we number the diamonds like this. So now we can see that the pocket line heads toward 18. This makes it easy to remember when you get back to your shot. This pattern requires the shooter to pocket the 1 ball and land between the 2 and 3 ball. Once here, we can pocket the 2 ball, then pocket the 3 in the corner pocket. When lining up the 1 ball, you may have to adjust the cue ball when down on the shot. This shot requires excellent speed control, along with a good feel for what angle will send the cue ball toward the position area. In this pattern, we're going to be pocketing the 1 ball, landing just short of the 2-ball pocket line. Now we're going to send the cue ball off both side rails for shape on the 3 ball. And remember, whenever you're sending the cue ball to a rail, give yourself a target to send the cue ball toward. If you shoot the 1 ball too quickly without picking a target on the side rail, you may end up with an angle like this that won't allow you to go off both side rails for the 3 ball. In this 4-ball pattern, we're going to pocket the 1 ball and land just on this side of the 2-ball pocket line. Now we can pocket the 2 ball and slide over for shape on the 3 ball. Now we can pocket the 3 ball, then pocket the 4 in the corner pocket. If you pocket the 1 ball and land on the 2-ball pocket line, you can roll forward, which will lessen the angle on the 3 ball. In this pattern, we're going to be pocketing the 1 ball and coming off the end rail, landing below the 2-ball pocket line. Now we'll draw back, creating a high angle on the 3 ball. Since we're not using side spin, we have to be careful when creating our angle on the 3 ball. Ending up with too much angle will send the cue ball in this direction. We're looking for a natural angle on the 3 ball that will allow us to pocket the 3 ball and get shape for the 4 ball. At this angle, I'll be using maximum high and focusing on good speed control so I don't cross half table. When shooting the 1 ball, remember to have a target on the end rail to send the cue ball toward. As you go through this pattern 3, 5, or 7 times in a row, you're going to be faced with different angles on the 2, 3, and 4 ball, which will really test your skills. Here the cue ball stopped just short of crossing the midway point. A little farther and I would have to start the run over. The goal of this pattern is to pocket the 1 ball and land on or extremely close to the 2 ball pocket line. Now we can pocket the 2 ball, killing the cue ball, then softly rolling the 3 ball for shape on the 4 ball. When practicing center ball drills, low spin replaces side spin. So in this 1 ball shot, the low spin would replace left side spin. As I just mentioned, low spin replaces side spin when practicing center ball drills. On this shot, players would normally use right spin to throw the 2 ball into the pocket, holding the cue ball for the 3 ball. Since we're not using side spin, we're going to use maximum load to help kill the cue ball. The goal when shooting the 2 ball is to keep the cue ball from crossing the 3 ball pocket line. In this pattern, we're going to be sending the cue ball off the rail, landing on this side of the 2 ball pocket line. Now we'll pocket the 2 ball and send the cue ball off the side rail for shape on the 3 ball. Now we're going to pocket the 3 ball and come back for shape on the 4 ball for the same pocket. If you want to challenge yourself, try to play shape on the 4 ball without using the side rail. Since we need to play a high angle on the 3 ball, ending up here on the 2 ball won't work, since it will be hard to hold the cue ball for shape due to the angle. I ended up with a little less angle on the 3 ball than last time, so I'm going to be using a firm stroke with just a small amount of high spin. In this pattern, we're going to be pocketing the 1 ball and creating a high angle on the 2 ball. At this angle, we're going to be using maximum high to create our position for the 3 ball. And what you'll find as you try to get through this pattern 3 or 5 times in a row is that you'll be faced with a variety of angles on the 3 ball, which will really test your cue ball skills. Since we're not using any side spin, our angle on the 2 ball has to be very good. Ending up with too much angle like this means we'll have to start the run over. On this 3 ball shot, you can challenge yourself by trying to land on or extremely close to the 4 ball pocket line.